Hi, folks. I wanted to discuss the progress in the investigation of Charlie Kirk's assassination. It's been 18 days since he was shot in Utah Valley University. And I did make a video in the past suggesting that the story that the feds are pushing is not adding up. And I think now I am certain as anyone can ever be that the story that the feds are pushing is a complete fabrication and total bullshit. Yeah, so I'm certain, as certain as anyone can be, that this Tyler Robinson fellow either is not involved, or if he is involved, he is not the main character in this story. And he certainly doesn't look like he's the one who pulled the trigger. Yeah, I've followed all the coverage that they have provided in terms of the information that they have, and nothing that they are saying makes sense. And just everything that has happened from the way that the shot was taken and how far the shooter was, to the subsequent actions that followed after he was shot by even some of the folks who are part of his team at Turning Point USA, and some of the bullshit responses that they've given when they are asked in terms of what they were doing, why did they take SD cards from the cameras, um, and the way that the FBI have been behaving itself, that bullshit confession that they released to the public. Um, I must say that none of it makes sense, and I don't have to know exactly what happened to know that the story they are giving us is bullshit. Yeah. So, and I don't think that um let me not go down that rabbit trail right now. But I must also say that the released text messages that we've seen now being released by Candace Owens, of how just a mere 48 hours before Charlie Kirk was gunned down, he had indicated to some close friends. Now we know that it's not just an allegation, but there's evidence, textual evidence for it, that he is no longer supporting the Israel cause. And how he said because of the bullying, the incessant bullying that was happening coming from Jewish donors. I think that evidence can't be ignored as well. And the behavior of Turning Point officials and just the Turning Point people since then also is suspicious. Yeah, so I just think that there's just too much that is happening, and there's too much that is not happening, that just makes me feel like this entire story is bullshit. And I'm not gonna say for sure that I know what happened, but I just know that the story is bullshit. And also, I wouldn't be surprised if they fail to get a conviction on this guy that they are charging for this murder, because it is very difficult to get a conviction when you are lying, and when you are also withholding exculpatory evidence, and you are presenting evidence that is bullshit. You might actually end up not getting a conviction. So that's something that is likely to happen, because my thinking at the very least is that yes, this Tyler Robinson fellow was involved somehow, but he's starting to look like he was involved as someone who was supposed to be a patsy. That is what it's starting to look like. it is seemingly looks like that he was called that he must be there at a certain time, and be the fall guy, or that he knew that it's going to happen, but he is not the one who took the shot. My thinking about it right now is that there's at least two or three people, or possibly more, who were involved in this. And at this point, I think that the FBI is lying. That is what my honest assessment on it. And I'm not gonna talk about this too much. This is probably gonna be my last video about this. Reason being is that as someone who is not an American citizen, I understand that I need to know my place when it comes to things like this. And it's better if American citizens go wild on speculations about things like this, because at the very least they have greater protections than I do. That is just something that is not just being in America or American. This is just something that is true anywhere in the world. If you are a guest in someone's house, you need to behave a certain way, and you can't freely be um, waging into complex matters, family matters, if I'm going to put it that way. But as someone who really respected and cared for Charlie Kirk, this is really pissing me off, and I don't think that they are telling the truth. Yeah, but with that said, um, let's see where it goes. Uh, I just don't believe anything they are telling us. Yeah, but let's wait and see. Cheers.